What's up everyone? Francis here. Usually see my videos over on the breakdown, but this story is something that I wanted to discuss. So today is the day that Jamel Robertson um, is being put to rest in Chicago. He was the security guard who performed heroics, did everything that conservatives claim good guys with guns should do in situations that could possibly lead to mass shootings, where he intervened and he held the potential mass shooter down. And as the cops arrived on the scene, we've talked about this story, they immediately saw melanin and they saw a weapon and they shot this man and killed him. He's been laid to rest today, but it seems that on the day that he's been laid to rest, another incident seems to have poked its head. This time in Alabama. Investigations are ongoing, but there's a lot of things I want to discuss about this. Basically, E.G. Bradford was a military veteran. He was holding a weapon when a shooting broke out in Alabama. Police arrived on the scene and they shot E.J. And basically immediately after they shot his full name is Emantic Fitzgerald Bradford Jr. is his name. His father's also a veteran, by the way, military family. So we'll see how many of those who support the vets will come out here and have comments on this situation. So police arrived on the scene in this mall, and according to reports, they assumed that E.G. Bradford was the shooter because he's a black guy with a gun, even though it's an open carry state, but they assumed it must have been him. And they killed him. And they immediately released reports. This is my problem here, because it is a cloudy situation and things are still developing, but they immediately released a report almost minutes after claiming that he was the shooter and that the situation was safe. So almost immediately after responding to the situation, they saw a black man with a gun in a situation that could potentially have been a mass shooting. It involved two victims. One, I believe, was pronounced dead, an 18-year-old and a 12-year-old. Really shocking and tragic situation happened on Thanksgiving night. But they, despite any real investigation, Hoover Police Department immediately claimed that E.G. Bradford was the mall shooter. He wasn't. He never fired any rounds from his gun. He had a weapon on him, because it's an open carry state and he's licensed to carry. But they assumed that he was the man in this situation. And as I've talked about before, cops make mistakes. We know this. We see this time and time again where it's a country that's overwhelmed with guns, right? But why does it never happen when white mass shooters are apprehended? Always seems to happen when there's melanin involved, when the man who happens to be holding the gun, whether he is a good man like Jamel Robertson or E.G. Bradford in this situation, they're immediately presumed to have been either an instigator or a problem, and their life is gone. And the crazy thing that happens after this is you hear absolutely nothing from the outspoken conservatives who claim that this is the only way to adhere to gun control. Oh, we need more good guys with guns. That's a myth. That has been proved wrong time and time again. The good guys with guns don't stop these shootings. They don't help reduce gun violence. And if you happen to be a good guy with a gun and be black in the United States of America, it can cost you your life. Even if you're doing the most heroic things like Jamel Robertson was doing, where he apprehended a would-be mass shooter, despite wearing a security guard shirt, a security guard hat, everything, with people screaming he's a security guard. In this country, unfortunately, that when you are black and even if you're holding a cell phone or Skittles or a hood, or the list goes on, but when you happen to have this situation and you see a man in a shopping mall who could have been running for his life along with everyone else, he's shot and killed. And it's the immediate portrayal of guilt that really gets me. Is they will look to try and find weed, like they did with Botham John, trying to find that in his apartment. Still, by the way, investigation going on with that. The Amber Geiger, the cop, was allowed to skip her bail. She wasn't allowed. She wasn't given that same harsh forearm of the law that often black people are given. She was allowed to just simply be out and free and living in the comfort of our own home, as we know that situation was ongoing. But Botham John had weed in his apartment, so yeah, that was a real important thing to focus on. And with Jamel Robertson, we've just heard crickets from the most prominent, outspoken conservatives who claim that good guys with guns are the reasons and the hope in this country to stop mass shootings and to make sure that gun violence isn't on the rise. But if you have a gun in an open carry state, I'm sorry, that just immediately assumes that you're guilty, and even if you don't fire any rounds, you're shot dead. Now, the problem is with this happening after the Jamel Robertson situation is we're expecting to hear from those who claim that good guys with guns are going to be the solution in this country. So I'm waiting. I'm waiting for the statement from the NRA. I'm waiting for Donald Trump. I'm waiting for Tammy Lahren. I'm waiting for Charlie Kirk, all these outspoken conservatives who claim that when there's a mass shooting that we need more people with weapons, or that when that black people will, like Botham Jean, basically the NRA came out and said that Botham Jean had a gun in his apartment. Dana Loesch said he might not have been killed. Oh, really? Because look what happened to Jamel Robertson in this situation as well. So it's an ongoing narrative. We'll wait to see how the situation pans out. But even without the furthest details, it was immediately assumed by the police and ran by local news stations and national news stations that E.G. Bradford was the shooter and they had apprehended the shooter. That wasn't true. Now we are still waiting to see more information on this, but that's just sloppy reporting from the police. That's just sloppy reporting from the news outlets that claim to be going forward and fact-checking, that they went out and validated these false claims and smeared this man's name without really understanding the details. So we'll wait and see how this thing pans out. Thank you.